Before I get started with this article, I have to give a shout out to Craig J for sending it to me. And I think the True Royal Family did a video about this as well. So we have this person by the name of Andrew Delke. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce his last name. I don't respect this fool enough to even pronounce his last name correctly if I mispronounced it. And basically, this story is coming out of Nashville, where he used to be a police officer down there, and he ruthlessly killed this black man. And right in the middle of court, he was able to take a plea deal right where this man's family was at, and they literally downgraded his charges from first-degree murder to voluntary manslaughter, and will only have to do, if that, 3 years in prison. That's why I said we can't take our foot off the gas just because of what happened with Derek Chauvin, because there's going to be plenty more out there that's going to be able to practically walk away from the crimes in which they commit. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article that was posted July 6, 2021. On Friday, Judge Monty Watkins accepted the plea deal made between the Office of the Nashville District Attorney General and former Nashville Metro Police Officer Andrew Delke. Instead of facing a jury of his peers, Andrew Delke's charge was minimized from first-degree murder to voluntary manslaughter and will only have to serve a maximum of 3 years for ruthlessly killing Daniel Hambrick. So listen to that. He didn't even have to go to an actual trial where there was a jury. He basically got his sentencing right then and there, and that's it. While Daniel Hambrick's mother, Vicky Hambrick, expected to meet with District Attorney General Glenn Funk to talk strategy on the case, she was hit with the blow of betrayal when Funk disclosed that he made a closed-door deal that would make history. Andrew Delke will be the first Metro Nashville officer to be charged, receive a felony conviction, and serve time for killing a black person, but that will still fail to bring justice, hold an officer accountable, or help the Hambrick family even begin to heal from this trauma. Now listen to this. The first one in history to be charged, receive a felony conviction, and serve time for killing a black person. So that means if you take all of that stuff out there, that means they've been getting away with this stuff for years. But this doesn't surprise me because this is Tennessee. And they try to make it seem like, oh, he's the first one to get this and get that. So what? He's getting the bare minimum. He got his charges downgraded from first-degree murder, which would have gave him life in prison if he was found guilty, to voluntary manslaughter, which gives him a max of 3 years. He will be out in 2024, unless they let him out before then. Funk revealed that he made this decision because he was not willing to risk not having a felony conviction, not having him off the force, not having him incarcerated, not having him be able to make a guilty plea where he conceded that he did in fact use deadly force that was not reasonably necessary. What this shows us yet again is how deeply racist America's justice system really is. A plea deal for a black person is almost always just as a lose-lose as it goes to trial. We as black people are always inherently seen as guilty. Police in America, no matter how egregious their crimes, are always uplifted and protected as innocent. And this is exactly how the system was designed to be. Policing in America was created to uphold the racist structure and beliefs of slavery, born out of fear of enslaved uprisings and revolts used as a tool to keep the power and free labor structure that sustained Southern agriculture. White Southerners of all ages, including white children, enlisted to be a part of what is called slave patrols. Some run by these rogue groups, and some run by state militias. As the population of the enslaved began to outnumber whites, slave patrols became more organized, terrorizing enslaved with the night watches, lynchings, beatings, rape, and other forms of torture to suppress resistance and stomp out the strength of the will of enslaved people to be free. When slavery and thus slave patrols ended in the traditional form, Jim Crow laws were created to re-enslave free black folks through carceral systems, and more informal patrols arose again and spread like wildfire. Realizing that volunteer patrols would not be as effective as organized, legalized patrols. With the help of the Union Army, city and rural police forces were developed to continue to police black people, enforce the volunteer patrol structures, and serve as a legal force to protect the domestic terrorist groups like the Ku Klux Klan / KKK. Fast forward, and we are today, as our ancestors have been for hundreds of years, before grieving and taking a stand for justice after the lynching of yet another black man at the hands of our now modernized system of slave patrol. This is why we need to take the focus away from reform and totally reimagine public safety. Police was designed to control black people and oppress black communities, and that is what it will always do. On July 26, 2018, Andrew Delke pursued Daniel Hambrick by car and later on foot, chasing him in his neighborhood. Daniel Hambrick's survival instincts kicked in, and he ran. It was a traumatic response from so much experience and generational trauma around policing in America, coupled with natural human fight or flight reaction. Daniel Hambrick is dead now. He has been dead for 3 years. Andrew Delke killed him, got a slap on the wrist, and will serve a maximum 3-year sentence for squaring up like an experienced hunter and shooting a young black man who was 50 feet away and still running as fast as he could from him. Daniel Hambrick is dead now, and Andrew Delke will live free because Nashville continues to ignore the historic trauma of policing, its birth out of slavery, and how it continues to traumatize, terrorize, and oppress black people today. We as a city must resist. We did not create those structures or ideology, but we do reinforce and perpetuate them, and it is up to us to shift our ways of thinking, disengage from what is, and build something new. What does work? Restorative justice and violence interruption. Our Gideon's Army pilot in North Nashville's Cumberland View community resulted in no community shootings, no homicides, no car thefts, burglaries, no self-inflicted wounds while running from the police, no reports of police violence or any violent crimes for 10 months. What else works? Whole family support, access to jobs, economic and academic advancement, food and housing security, decriminalizing drugs, community-led mental health and social work programs, investing in creating healthy, economically viable communities. Gideon's Army has also been pushing our cities towards building a justice that heals for almost a decade now. Tapping into evidence-based strategies, we can transform our city and create justice that heals. I can give you one more thing that will work, and this is something that can happen for all of us, and that's our tangibles. I swear, if we get our tangibles, do you know how much better off we will probably be? Like, for real, for real. That's what needs to happen. Effective immediately. But they don't want that to happen, because then that will really become self-sufficient. Then at that point, we will most likely have no choice but to be self-sufficient. But at the end of the day, this is very, very messed up what happened. I mean, imagine you are getting ready to, get a jury trial where you're on trial for first-degree murder, and then right then and there, we accepted your plea deal, voluntary manslaughter, and, all you'll have to do is 3 years. I'm telling you, PC, they get everything, and I bet you they're going to keep him isolated and everything like that, because I know that's what they're doing with Derek Chauvin. They said so as such. They said with Derek Chauvin, he's going to be in jail, but he's not going to be in Gen Pop. He's going to be there, but he's going to be isolated from all the other inmates for his quote-unquote safety. At that point, I could give a fuck about his safety, and I would not be surprised if someone leaves the door unlocked, if you know what I mean. And I can only hope the same thing happens to him. Let's just hope that, he runs into the wrong person or the right person within these next 3 years.